were clear and bright.
All right, so we're back with Ambassador Tapia. I was saying, Ambassador, that you actually miss us here in Jamaica.
I think whenever we go over to you, Cliff, from the clear line, I think it has to do with maybe the electronics there that is doing an interference of a feed over. But let's see if we can make it through this time. Let's see.
Yes, I was saying you actually miss us here in Jamaica.
I'm sorry, what, sir?
You miss us? You miss us here in Jamaica?
Yes.
What about Jamaica you miss?
You want to talk about what you want to talk about? Which what do you want to talk about? Let's establish the subject.
I just want to talk about your time here in Jamaica, your highs, your low points, yes, and how you've been doing.
Well, I'm doing very well. My time in Jamaica, as you probably know, that I was never accused of being a politician and never accused of being a diplomat. I was a business person that always dealt with facts and figures, and we didn't try to skirt issues, as you know. When you get into politics or you become a politician, you kind of dance on both feet. Well, that's one thing that I've never tried to do. I've tried to stand on both my feet and talk very bluntly and very clearly to people without trying to skirt issues. Sometimes there's issues that, in fact, when you're a diplomat, that you cannot discuss or you cannot venture into, and I stayed away from those. And if they came up, I would tell you that I could not discuss them. So with that said, I can only tell you my success in Jamaica, Cliff, is predicated on the ministers, in dealing with the ministers. I could not have succeeded in anything that we have done between Jamaica and the United States without the Attorney General. She's a law enforcement officer to make sure that everything is true and correct when you're talking about international treaties, international agreements, and so forth. She stood very firmly for Jamaica, and I respected that very highly. The second one is, of course, the Minister of Security, because his responsibility as a deputy prime minister and as a minister of security is to make sure that the lines of communications for Jamaica is secure in all factions. And without his help, without the AG's help, and without Minister Vaz's help, I could not have been successful in the job that I have been so in charge of, and that have been recommended, that actually comments have been made that I was probably one of the best ambassadors, and I want to thank the Prime Minister for making that statement that has been assigned to Jamaica.
It's interesting that you mention Minister Vaz, because one of the most newsworthy point of your time here was the revocation of Minister Vaz's visa and that of the senior opposition politician Philip Portwell, yes? And I know they have been trying to regain their visa. How is that going from where you sit? What's your knowledge of that?
Well, the first thing is keeping in mind that the consular section is a section in the federal government that basically is by itself. It receives its funding from visas. So therefore, there's not really... they're like an island by themselves. They have the direct authority to grant visas and to revoke visas. Ambassadors do not. And one of the things that we are always cautioned on is not to get involved in visa cases or to interject ourselves into a visa case. With Daryl Vaz, with Minister Vaz, because I was the newly appointed ambassador, I was made aware of the situation, not knowing the facts and figures of what caused that caused the revocation of Daryl Vaz's visa. So therefore, I was put on the hot spot, as you know, on your program with the Prime Minister, with the Minister of Security. Believe me, I was every minister that I went to. That was one of the issues, and one of the things that I could only say is that there were revocations, that certain things that you could look on the website. Now, what's on the website? There's a lot of things that lay out there that they can revocate, but they have full authority to issue the visas and the full authority to revoke the visas. No one else in government has that authority except the Consular General, and that's the one that is at the embassy and also in Washington. So therefore, we basically step back. It's like they having being in a vault. That they are in a vault and we're on the other side, and we don't have the combination.
So you had nothing to do with the revocation of both visas?
Yes, they are the only. They have the only authority. They're the only congressional authority that can revoke or grant visas. Is the authority vested in them?
Yeah.
And as I say, they receive their funding from the fees that they collect for visas.
Yes.
You don't see them on a funding. You don't see them on a funding appropriation.
But looking back now,
the funding is coming basically from visa.
But looking back, yes, is there anything you know now which you didn't know then? Yes.
Well,
which would make
when I can tell you that I actually did call a meeting at the suggestion of the consular section in Washington to review the write-ups and so forth that the embassy had and also Washington had, and my review, I would say that as Daryl Vaz so plainly put, and believe me, I have to give him a lot of credos because he laid out his life in that interview that he had with you. I don't know, it was last week or this weekend.
Yesterday.
But I listened to that. Yeah, yesterday. So I listened to that interview, and he laid out his life and all the things that he has been accused of, and all the innuendos that he has been accused of throughout since he was 19 years old, running for a commissioner, and going on from there. What I found is exactly what he said, exactly what he laid out there, is that everything that has been there is inconclusive. Everything is inconclusive. That his life has been charged from the day that he, because of his father's reputation, and of course when the son comes in, the prodigal son comes in, that causes a lot of trepidation with the other party. And what I found is the other party started it when we started looking at it was under Bunting, when Bunting was the security minister. So when you go back and you look at the history of Daryl Vaz, he laid it out there very well, and I'll tell you, I was extremely engaged in his words, because I think every one of us, you, me, has been accused of things wrongly, and you cannot find. It's like a rumor. Where does the rumor start, and where does it end? And who tells it to the next person? It gets exasperated to the point that it gets higher, that you start adding things to it. So where is it? Where does it stop? But Daryl Vaz yesterday in the interview, I was truly impressed with the statements that he made and the backup information that he had there.
But let me ask
he backed up everything.
You said the consular authorities, the U.S. authorities, would have done a review of the situation, the rumors, and they found at the end of the day, what did they find? What did they conclude?
Cliff, there's one little sentence, one little word that I have problems with that you can hang your hat on. And it's easy for a consular officer to hide behind it. And I'm not saying that the consular officer has hid behind it, but it's very easy to hide behind that one sentence that says that in their discretion, if they feel that the person applying for a visa would cause any type of problems in the United States, or that could cause that had any problems here in Jamaica going to the United States, that they can actually revoke or they cannot grant a visa. They have that authority, and that's one of the things that I find that is troubling to me, is the fact is, after my review, at the suggestion of Washington, to take a look at all the write-ups, everything was inconclusive. And all I'm saying is that when things are inconclusive, I have a problem with that because I come from the business section. I come where you cannot rumors cannot not float throughout a large organization. Innuendos cannot float with in a large organization that I have been associated with. Mm-hmm. You do not ruin people's careers or their reputation, and that's one of the things that everybody should be aware of.
So let me ask you.
Innuendos come from.
I heard you. But let me ask you, Ambassador.
Innuendos come from your enemies.
But let me ask you, Ambassador. Let me put this to you, Ambassador, because this is a question a lot of Jamaicans have been asking. Yes? The fact that the American government revoked the visas of Mr. Vaz, a former Minister Paulwell, it means that the Americans had something conclusive, strong on them. Yes? Whether illegal, unethical, but they have something on them why they would revoke their visas. Is that so? There's nothing there?
Cliff, I just explained that to you that very clearly, that they have the authority to work off of rumors and innuendos, which I do not, which has, as I said, caused me problems from the standpoint that rumors and innuendos, who starts rumors and innuendos against a person? You find that, especially since Daryl Vaz was was very political out there in the arena, that any time you step out there, you put your family, you put your life, and everybody for people to take pot shots at you. The same I did when I stepped out to become an ambassador. People took pot shots at you. Well, at the same time, when they're taking pot shots, it becomes innuendos, and it goes from one, then those innuendos become rumors, and rumors become fact. People start thinking that these are fact, and they're not fact, and they're not substantiated.
Mm-hmm. So in the case of Mr. Vaz, the review was inconclusive. What of Mr. Paulwell's? Was his case reviewed?
I have not been involved in the Paulwell. He said that, from what I understand, I have met with Paulwell because I had dinner with Paulwell and Grant. I've had dinner with them, and it was never brought up. But he's the one that said that he applied. That he actually applied to the counselor section for review. Now, I cannot substantiate whether he has or not. That's his words, not mine. Mm-hmm. Nor have I ever followed up with the counselor section to ask them, because, number one, it's not the ambassador's responsibility to follow up or get involved once again with a revocation or anything such as that.
Yes, and your dogs are making their presence felt, Ambassador. Tell me, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I stepped.
Tell me, Ambassador, you said earlier that under Mr. Bunting, when he was Ministry of National Security, what was that about?
Dale Vaz and National Security?
Yes. Well, something started under Bunting. What was that?
No, Dale Vaz is, we've never, I can't speak to that issue because I don't know anything about Dale Vaz and national security. It's, I'm not sure that was ever a issue. Mm-hmm. Dale Vaz, no. In fact, I have been asked by the Minister of National Security if I could explain to him why Dale Vaz's visa was revoked, as I said to the Prime Minister. And normally I would not mention any conversation that I've had with the Prime Minister. But with the Prime Minister, I told him the same thing, that the counselor section stands on its own feet, mm-hmm. and we take the blunt of some of their actions. Mm-hmm. But to actually get involved in a case or interject ourselves in trying to get somebody a visa or get a visa revoked, that's you're treading in some very dangerous waters.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, Ambassador, you spent 2 years plus in the job. Now that you have had that experience, you saw that interview yesterday with Vaz. You said he poured his heart out. Do you think he has been done an injustice, both himself and Paulwell?
I cannot, once again, I cannot speak on Paulwell. I can only speak to on Daryl Vaz's issues because the fact is he was a minister he was a minister with portfolio and without portfolio when I dealt with him. I never dealt with Paulwell because Paulwell was never was never a minister with portfolio when I was there. So therefore, I can only speak to Daryl Vaz in his actions. I can say that as I said before I left, if you recall, in the paper, that I said Daryl Vaz has been wrongly accused of many things that I saw. Daryl Vaz is a doer, and I'll tell you, anytime you find a doer, you're going to find problems. You're going to find innuendos. Look, I was a straight shooter, especially whenever they had that little Twitter war between one of my associates and somebody called Whiskey something, and I didn't back away from it. I didn't back away from it because you can't back away from adversity. But the problem of it is that when the adversity comes, you've got to handle it properly. And I think sometimes that what I have found, and this is not a slam against the U.S. government, but you've got to keep in mind that I was a political appointment, a career officer. Mm-hmm. He cannot rock the boat from the standpoint that his career could be on the line. And that's one of the differences between a career ambassador and an appointed ambassador. A career ambassador has to go through certain channels. Mm-hmm. A political ambassador, I could pick up the phone and I've talked to the vice president many times directly. I've talked to the National Security Council directly. I could call whoever I wanted to without going through the channels. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference in having an ambassador, political or appointed. Now, once again, no matter which shoe you're wearing, the political or in the appointed, the hands-off, basically, is the counselor section. It's always been that way. And you're always warned when you're going through training that that's a section that you do not want to embed yourself in because it can come back to bite you. I feel, Chris, I feel that after review, that all I saw, and I will stand by it, all that I saw was innuendos and rumors. I saw nothing conclusive. And the officers that I sat in on that meeting, we all came to the agreement that it was all conclusive. But from that point on, it goes to the counselor section.
So, if asked, as a former ambassador, having interacted and followed this, if asked, what would be your recommendation in terms of the visas of Mr. Vaz?
This is where I'm going to get myself in hot water because of the fact is that there will be blowback to the U.S. Embassy and to the counselor section. I would say that Daryl Vaz, it should have been investigated a lot deeper, and the write-ups should have been more conclusive, and the write-ups were not conclusive, and the action was taken on inconclusive information, and that's all that basically that I will say about the counselor section because they do a great job. Let me tell you, they got a hard job because they've got to look at that person across that window and determine that person is telling the truth and why they're doing things and to make sure that when they come to the United States and they're granted a visa, that they're the right people to come to the to be entered into the United States. And so I give them a lot of credit. But there's sometimes that when we look at things, we make mistakes or we make up the wrong call. Sometimes that you find a counselor officer that because of his career, does not want to reverse a bad call that he was involved in, or he makes a call that he should have made the other way, and that can affect his career. And I can actually say that the consular section there at the embassy does a fantastic job.
They do a fantastic job, Ambassador, but they made a wrong call when they revoked Vaz's visa, did they?
Well, Cliff, have you ever stubbed your toe?
Hmm?
Cliff, have you ever stubbed your toe and made the wrong decision?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they stubbed their toe.
Yes.
And I think now that after listening to Dale Vaz, Minister Vaz, yesterday in that interview, I think that in itself can change a lot of opinions of Mr. Vaz. And I have, in fact, said that I will do what I can to try to correct a wrong that I feel that was done under my watch. Keep in mind that Dale Vaz's visa was revoked under my watch. I was the ambassador there. And it's my responsibility as the ambassador, past ambassador, to try to correct a wrong if in fact I feel that it was wrong. That's my God-given right to stand up, stand up for what is right and what is wrong.
And
those are strong words. Those are strong words, my friend.
yes, they are very strong words, very clear. Yes. And what authority, what are your chances of being influential in correcting this wrong? Do you have any authority? Do you have any recourse to pursue?
Chris, I don't want to taint the avenue in which I will travel on this journey. I do not want to detain it, because the fact is that I'm going to have to deal again with the consular section, and other people are going to have to deal with the consular section. So I refrain to answer that question to say, look, it was I, as the past ambassador, and on my watch, I felt something was wrong, and I will do what I can, and within my power, and with the people that I know, to try to correct a wrong, and that's what I think everybody, under the canopy of heaven, should try to do, because we've all done things wrong. We've all made mistakes, but we've also got to live up to our mistakes and admit our mistakes if we have made them. But there are people in this world that cannot and will never admit to their mistakes, and you probably have met some of those people.
Yeah. Well, you've gone back to your business, or you're now retired?
Well, it seems like I'm as busy as I was before, because I'm back into business, and we're going to be building some units down in Florida. We have some units development going up in Pine Top, Arizona. So I'm back in my element of being able to say what I can say, very bluntly and in very strong language, But with that said, it's always been a pleasure, and believe me, I could not have done what I've done without the support of the Jamaican people, and without the support of the ministers. As I said, the AG, the Minister of Security, Dale Vaz, the Minister, of Energy. It just goes on and on and on, and even with with my good friend Audrey Shaw, that he passed through the one thing that was hung up for about 15 years or something like that was the international, or the intelligent property that we got passed, that now you're on the same level, that your artists and so forth can write books, sing songs and so forth, and copyright them, and not worry about somebody not paying you for it. So that was one of the first things that Shaw and I worked on.
Okay.
But there's still things there that need to be done. But I'm not there, and I'll leave that to the next ambassador and the charge d'affaires there, John McIntyre. He is well qualified to be an ambassador. Believe me, he is sharp. He's straightforward, and he's a straight shooter. Also, that's one of the things why he and I got along so well.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ambassador Donald Tapia. Keep in touch.
Anytime.
Good, good. Well. That was the former ambassador to Jamaica, the United States. Under whose watch the visas of Minister Vaz and opposition PNP chairman Philip Paulwell were revoked. In the case of Mr. Vaz, he says they reviewed the information and they have concluded that rumors, innuendos, inconclusive, and he's now of the view that they made the wrong decision in revoking Daryl Vaz's visa. Wow. This is Cliff Hughes Online, Nationwide 90 FM.
My eyes were clear and bright.